Hey guys, Ivan here, and in this video we have a lot of bodybuilders updates, just too many for this part of the year especially. It's surprising, honestly, so I'm gonna try to be as brief as possible with each one of them. And let's go with the first one, probably the most important one, I would say Big Ramy's physique update. So here you can see that Big Ramy looks huge, he looks amazing, but most importantly, he looks lean. He looks lean at this point. I made a couple of videos about Big Ramy before, while he was in his off-season, and I always said that he looked surprisingly lean. Now, at this point, I think it's about 8 weeks out of Arnold Classic, Ohio, he looks very lean. Now, he is prepping. I'm sure he started his prep. I'm sure he's not prepping only for 8 weeks, so this is a couple of weeks at least of dieting. Now, the question is he gonna bring the best shape of his life for Arnold Classic? Is he gonna do it? Well, it's questionable to say at least. It's probably not gonna happen. I mean, after so many years, I just, pretty much gave up on Big Ramy's conditioning. I just don't think he will ever be as conditioned as some of the guys, for example, like Sean Rodden or something. But Sean is not in the Arnold Classic. He fell out. As well as Rolly Winkler, which sucks. Rolly is out, yeah. Sean Rodden, who was definitely the favorite to win this show, is out. And it sucks. He was in the poster in the beginning, but I don't know why did they put him in a poster if they weren't sure. That's just lame. Then again, we have Big Ramy, who is also a huge star. Thankfully, he's still on. Hopefully, he will stay healthy and injury-free and everything like that. So hopefully, he will be there. And Rolly Winkler, one of the biggest stars of this show, is not in. So after Big Ramy, the guy who is most likely going to win it is William Bonac, of course. Here is a very recent photo of William Bonac. You can see his conditioning. Now, is he leaner than Big Ramy? I don't think so. He doesn't look leaner, but William Bonac in conditioning, that was never an issue. That was easy for him. He's always conditioned. Not only conditioning, but also the fullness, everything. I mean, this guy peaks perfectly every single time, right? He's at least like 98% of himself. At the very worst, he's 98. And he can be 100%, and that's it. That's pretty much it. It doesn't get worse than that for him. So he has his game figured out. He doesn't even need a coach. Last year, the Mr. Olympia, he was a little bit smaller, and that's probably why he didn't win the Mr. Olympia. He could have won it. Not very likely, but maybe. At the Arnold, he was fuller. He was much, much bigger, and he lost to Brandon Curry, who was also sharper. But at the Mr. Olympia, Brandon was much softer. And I think if William Bonac came the same way as he was at the Arnold, he could have won that show actually and became the Mr. Olympia, but that didn't happen. Anyways, it's just a matter of he's gonna be a little bit bigger, a little bit less big, but he always brings, the fullness and the conditioning, and he peaks perfectly. So William Bonac is probably the favorite to win it. Big Ramy, we don't know what to expect from him. If he brings it, he doesn't need to come sharp, peeled. He just needs to bring his 2017 conditioning, 16, maybe even 15. You know what I'm saying? Just, come at least a little conditioned. So he doesn't need to be sharp as hell because he's bigger, he's fuller, he's more complete. He's a beast, he's a monster for bodybuilding. So Big Ramy, he just needs to come normal. If he comes completely off, watery or fat or something like that, then he will probably be second place. And that's when William Bonac wins. But that's very likely to happen. So if I'm gonna bet, I would say William Bonac wins it. But it all depends on Big Ramy. If Big Ramy brings at least decent conditioning, he will win the show. Of course, that's all under the assumption that everything goes well. No injuries, no health problems. We also have a physique update of this man right here, Blessing Awadibu. I think that's how you pronounce his name. His nickname is Boogeyman. And this guy, he's huge, he's an absolute monster, and I'm pretty sure this is his pro debut. I think he turned pro last year, so we'll see how he looks, but you can see that fat ass. He's not conditioned, nowhere near conditioned at this point, at 8 weeks out. So will he bring conditioning, like really good conditioning? Probably not, but with this mass, he may do very good. He's very complete, he's huge. And if he brings somewhat of a shape, I'm sure he will do well. I'm sure many of you are fans of him. He has an interesting personality. He's a very funny guy. But as a bodybuilder, huge but always off with conditioning. Alright, next we have Josh Nartovitz, who is also doing the Arnold Classic. This is his physique update. I think he's finally free of that head tumor. It wasn't a brain tumor, it was on the outside of his skull, so he had problems with that, he had problems with the headaches, and I think now it's all good. It's all good and he's prepping for the show. He looks humongous. He's one of the biggest bodybuilders of today. Last year, early at the Arnold Classic and Arnold Classic Australia and so on, he was great. He was a beast. He was one of the biggest guys, probably the biggest guy on that stage. And he will still, again, this year be one of the biggest guys. I mean, he will be challenging Big Ramy in the size department. In 2019, he made some serious gains. He gained a lot. He became an absolute freak, a monster. But before that, he was big. He was big, but not as big. He was a little bit smaller, and he always brought great conditioning, really great conditioning. Last year, 2019, conditioning suffered. Hopefully, this year, 2020, he will be able to bring the conditioning up, keep the size, and destroy everybody. Destroy everybody. He doesn't have some especially crazy genetics. He's not exactly blessed with super nice, pretty looking muscle bellies and everything, but he has a lot of mass and he has the muscle maturity, and when he's conditioned, he's really good. But can he win the Arnold Classic? Of course not. I'm talking about cracking the top 5 or something. In case you have been wondering what is Rafael Brandao right now and what he's looking like, this is his physique update, and this guy gained some mass. Look at him. Look at him. Everybody was saying before that he should transfer to classic physique, that he has classical lines and that he should go to classic physique, but that's not happening, most certainly. Look at him. Look at him. He gained so much. And he actually looks pretty aesthetic at this point. I don't think his stomach blew up. I think he will keep the lines and get bigger. And this guy is a huge potential. Rafael Brandao, even though he doesn't speak English, he may even be a potential to win the Mr. Olympia at one point. Hopefully he will learn to speak English at least a little bit, but it's probably not gonna happen. He's like 20, I don't know, 7, 6, something like that, and he still doesn't speak English. Honestly, I'm wondering how did that even happen. I mean, everybody is speaking in English. You can hear it everywhere, on social media, on YouTube, on movies and everywhere. I mean, it's strange. It's really weird to not speak English at all. I understand not to be great at speaking English, but not speak it at all. It's really weird. I mean, don't you think? Big Ramy learned how to speak it, and it's not perfect, of course. It's a very strong accent, but at least he's speaking it and we can understand him. Rafael never speaks English. I don't think he knows a word of English. He always speaks in, I don't know, whatever language Brazilian people are speaking. Portuguese, correct me if I'm wrong. So hopefully he will learn some. It will not be great, I'm sure, but at least some. As far as his physique goes, I'm sure that this guy is one of the top guys potentially. And Mr. Olympia at one point, right now he looks huge, and I can't wait to see him at the next show. He's gonna look amazing, I'm sure of that. Alright, next up we have Luke Sando in his off season, taking 220 pound dumbbells for a ride. And guys, I'm sure many of you are doing your bench press with a barbell with 220 pounds. I'm sure that's the case. I'm sure many of you can't even lift that much. This guy is lifting that with one hand and he's wrapping it. He's wrapping it. I mean, this is insane. This guy is strong as a bull. It's crazy. It's crazy. He became a training partner of this man right here, James Hollingshead. These guys are insane lifters. They're very, very strong. They lift so intensely. James is a top pro. He was top 3 at the Big Man show and also top, I think, 7 at the New York Pro. He lifts this with such ease. Look at him. He's playing here. He's doing easy reps. Come on, this man is so strong, and you can see it in his physique actually. Look at this. I'm pretty sure this is the Big Man Pro show where he took 3rd spot. I don't know why the lighting is red though, but it is what it is. He looks amazing here. He looks great. He is incredibly strong. He's crazy strong. This guy can squat like, I think 8 plates, I think so, for reps. And it shows in his physique. He's super strong on every single lift, on pulling movements, on pushing movements, on squatting, on everything. And he always trains like that. And you can see it in his physique. Does this guy have a huge potential? I think so. I think so. I'm a huge fan of him. I started following him before he was a pro, and I know this guy is gonna be at the Mr. Olympia. It's only a matter of time, and not only because of his physique and the genetics physically, but because of his mindset. He's super focused, super driven. He pays attention to every single detail. He's such a force, and let's just wait. Let's give him some more time, and I'm sure, guys, this guy's gonna be on the top. Mark my words. Okay, this might be a bit of a stretch, but Kevin Leveroni posted this photo of himself, and he said something like 2020, I'm coming, I'm ready, something like that. And obviously he's training right here because of all the sweat on his face. And could that be a potential hint of him training for something in particular? Maybe another comeback, just maybe another show. I don't know if he officially retired. It could be something, It's not something that I would put in the title of a video or thumbnail, make a whole video about it, because there is no evidence, no proof or anything like that. But I'm just, curious, just like you guys. Does that mean anything? Maybe, hopefully, I would like to see that. It wouldn't be great physique, I'm sure, but it's always interesting to see these old-timers coming back. It's always, fun, at least, if nothing else. So maybe something like that happens, probably not, but I saw the photo and that's what I thought for a second, so I wanted to share that with you. Let's go with something more real now. Now we have Ian Valier, and this was filmed at Chris Bumstead's YouTube channel, and here you can see that this guy is huge. He is one of the biggest bodybuilders of today, and he lifts incredibly heavy as well, and that's basically what is in common of all of these big, huge guys. They're all super strong. And here you can see that Ian is huge. He's not only big, but he has that freak factor. He has huge arms and shoulders. And also surprisingly small waist for somebody of that stature, of that size. And I'm saying from the sides especially, not structurally so much, but from the sides, when he sucks that stomach in, it just looks impressive. Here you can see that he is huge and he doesn't plan on stopping. He's obviously training to grow. Hopefully he works hard on his weaknesses, and hopefully he'll fix all the flaws and bring something much better next year or this year, hopefully. Alright, next thing perhaps is not bodybuilding related, but it is physique related, and it's Chris Cormier, the top bodybuilding star and the top coach today, who posted this on his Instagram account, and Shaquille didn't post it on his Instagram, so maybe Chris is training him. I do not know, he didn't specify that in the description. I didn't really read the comments, but basically Shaquille is doing a transformation pretty much. He's trying to lose fat and try to look fit. He was never known to be a fit guy, he was always a huge, big guy, but right now he looks much leaner, and it's interesting to see something like this. Hopefully he will bring even better shape. And for the end of this video, we're gonna have some classic physique guys, two of them, not too many, don't worry. First is Courage Opara. And this is a guy that we can't forget about. This guy is a huge potential. This is him right now in the off season. I don't know what show is he doing next. Could it be Arnold Classic? I don't know. Last year he did Arnold Classic and he placed 4th, I believe. And this guy is a huge potential. We kind of stopped talking about him, but that's the same thing we did with Terence Ruffin, with Ruff Diesel. And what happened? Ruff came and he won a pro show. Not a strong pro show. It was only Niagara Falls. Probably the weakest one, possibly. But even though that was the weak show, look at him. He's a huge potential at this point. He's one of my favorite guys from the Mr. Olympia. I think this guy will crack the top 6 at least at this year's Mr. Olympia. He's qualified. He has an entire year to improve even on this. As I said before, I don't like his arms too much and his lats, the way they hang, but everything else, also his calves are too small. But overall, an impressive physique, really good classic physique. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. A lot of updates. I try to be as brief as possible, but sometimes I just keep on talking. Whatever you think about whichever part of this video, tell me down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe for more bodybuilding videos like this. All the best, guys, and bye bye.